Hey, I'm Noah, and Taylor, you didn't catch Cats 2019?
I really wish I hadn't. I wish I still hadn't. Oh my god.
Goodness.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to really share and talk about this with someone who, like me, before seeing this movie, had no familiarity with the Cats like brand, property, history, or anything really. And so I get to like work with someone who has my similar level of inexperience with the core material. I think this is going to be a fabulous, fun time. I gotta ask, what? Oof, I'm getting in my head of myself though. I guess I'm supposed to give a quick summary here as the host to help set the tone and get everybody a nice understanding of how things are going to work today. Rule number one: there is no story worth summarizing,
Oh
or at
my
least
god.
there wasn't originally, as I understand it. They tried to Frankenstein one together. The Frankenstein story is that a young cat named Victoria is abandoned in London alleys and then spends the next 2 hours being serenaded to by a large, what's the word for a plurality of cats? Scurry,
Heard?
a frantic of cats, a
I
herd of cats
I don't
run
fucking
around
know.
sing to her about their practices. These are the Jellicle cats who come together once a year to try and do a singing competition to prove that they are worthy of being magically granted the ability to reincarnate into a better life than being Londonese alley cats.
To,
Uh,
to be
there's
fair,
also an evil cat that wants to do this,
the only thing
and
I
he does
call
evil things.
the only thing I
Uh-huh.
call a large group of cats is a clan because of the Warrior series. So that has more plot than this. Oh my
Yeah, it's my impression that the Warrior Cats at least has some engaging like characters and plots. This
god.
certainly has engaging characters in some iterations, and certainly I feel engaged when I watch it sometimes. Anyway, there's also an evil cat that wants the ability to reincarnate, even though it seems like he really has life going on pretty well for himself. He's like a powerful magician. We don't address that. Some of the cats have magic. You're just supposed to roll with it. I guess this is like the time cat rules where it's just like, yeah, you kind of just assume cats always had the power to do magical stuff. Anyway, Judi Dench is the queen cat and eventually gives what's her name?
Grizz?
Gives Grizabella the glamour cat played by Grizz, played by it's not Kate Hudson. Oh, this is
I
embarrassing.
don't know.
I'm gonna look at the DVD box here. Let's see here. Jennifer
Basic,
Hudson. It's Jennifer
basically,
Hudson.
Grizz
The
wins.
Grizz wins. Grizz, who is hated because of the Virgin Whore complex, gets and
Is
eventually earns their favor and gets to fly off into reincarnated heaven.
is that what that was?
That's always my interpretation of the way this
Because
does it,
like
and like listening to discourse.
so really her song is the only one I listened to multiple times because she's really the only one with any
Hmm.
songs I actually enjoy in the movie. And
Hmm.
like the most I could glean from that first song was like she went into an area that's blocked off from the cats for safety reasons.
Hmm.
And so then she was persecuted for not following the rules and couldn't be a true Jellicle cat. That's what I grabbed from it. I don't fucking know.
It was my understanding that this makes it even like more explicit than like the stage show did. Like there's a line where they say, and then she went off with McCavity, and well,
Oh.
mysterious cat implication ensues. And then she was abandoned and living in like the bombed out areas outside of London, a thing that exists in the 50s, I guess. Because this
Everybody.
is set in the time of the 50s, I think, the time of the original poems that the original musical was based off of.
But
Just
literally,
judging by like the technology.
so many cats go off with McCavity. That doesn't make any sense. What? Okay. Alright. Okay.
Virgin Horror Complex. This movie has a lot of baggage, and I think that a big part of what we're going to be spending the next hour and 20 minutes discussing is going to be just all the baggage that T.S. Eliot and Andrew Lloyd Webber and finally director of this movie Tom Hooper brought to the party. So, Taylor, just as an opening question, what knowledge of cats did you bring to the party here? Like any like details
I
that stood out
knew
as things that you knew going in?
I knew it was supposed to be like super sexual for a movie about cats, but like I've heard that about the play too, so I wasn't really surprised, but not the play, but the musical as well, so I was kind of expecting it. Also, I read the Warrior Cats books, okay? Overly sexual cats is kind of a fucking theme in there. Um, that's it.
We've been there. We've been online. This is a
I
post-sexual
know
cat anthropomorphic world.
I know you like Rum Tum Tugger, and I can't stand the fucker. That's what I walked in with. Now, I didn't walk in with the opinion of I can't stand him. I walked in with the opinion of, oh, Noah really likes his character. He should be cool. He wasn't cool. He was an
No, he's
asshole.
not.
He was an asshole.
I guess I should have prefaced at some point when I talked about how much I like Run Tum Tugger that I like the clips of the stage show one that I've seen. Because, and this is really gonna blow the lid off of anyone that's actually a musical fan in the audience, I still haven't seen the actual stage show or a recording of it. I've gone a full year having only seen this movie and then just countless hours of cats related discourse. And I gotta say, I love the stage show version of all these characters because they're less upsetting and also way more gay in a lot of cases.
Um,
It's such a headed up movie. It's horrifying
I
to
was.
revisit.
I have gone my entire life without seeing anything about cats, and sadly that changed tonight. So I also haven't seen the play.
Hmm.
Although I saw the
So,
costumes for the play.
oh yeah,
Those are
lovely
kind of those are
costume.
kind of cool.
Nice stylism on the costumes. It turns out that stylism makes things nice and interesting
Yeah, if
when you
only
want to
they.
convey things that aren't real.
So is everyone related to Old D? Is that why they all look the same in the fucking movie?
Old Doot seems to be their ancestor, or at least that's the implication of his song.
Yeah, no, I'm just calling her Old D. I don't care.
Mhm.
It's Old D, New Girl, Magician Cat, Grizz, the Rum Tum Tugger fucker, Night Host Cat, Pitch
Night Host
Perfect
Cat, yep.
Cat, Pitch Perfect Cat,
It's perfect
Idris
cat.
Elba,
Yep.
and then Gus.
Idris Elba. You aren't gonna call him Heimdall Cat?
No, it's Idris Elba. That's what I came up with when I saw him appear. That's what I'm calling him now.
I'm glad Sir Ian at least merited learning his.
His cat's
You
name
at
is
least gave Sir
Gus.
Ian the respect of learning his character's name.
His cat name is Gus. He's obsessed with Old D. That's it. There were two things to learn about him. He's literally got the only cat whose name is said besides Victoria and Grisabella's and McCavity's. They're the only three whose names are like listed. Well, only four whose names are like listed repeatedly throughout the series. You also get the names of like the two cats that look like twins. And those get repeated throughout their one song together, and then they never do anything else together after.
Surprised that was your impression because like most of the songs are just cat names, and then the thing that cat name does.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't bring myself to care. It's at that point by the time I learned their names and their songs, it was too late. They already
Hmm.
had nicknames.
Hmm.
Gus got a name as soon as he
It was just
appeared.
far too late.
Magician Cat referred to Gus as Gus. But really I feel like it was just the actor being really excited to work with Sir Ian McKellen. And so that was
I
why
mean, yeah,
he
that's
was
fair.
nervous. And that was the only and that's the only name I cared about. Old D, Gus, and Grizz. They're cool. Magician Cat was cool. That's it.
I mean, yeah, big fans, big fans. There are a lot of fun times there. A lot of physical intimacy between all the cats.
I
A lot of getting. Oh man,
I kind
I
of
can
want
see the nervousness on.
I kind of want McCavity to win. Like,
Oh, really?
I
You
don't.
felt
I can't stand bad guy characters. I genuinely cannot stand them. I do not like them. I do not stand. Bad guy characters. I just, no. There's typically someone better somewhere in the fucking series. Yeah, no.
you mean characters
McCavity
that are the
win.
like
McCavity should have
mm.
won. Fuck it. They killed the cat who wins. So let McCavity win. Your issue is solved.
If the prize is an execution, give it to the one you want to get rid of,
I really was
not
rooting
the one
for.
you like the most.
I was really rooting for Grizz to win this entire time. I was like, yes, she's gonna
Mhm.
come in. She's going to prove that hey, they were all fucking wrong about her. She's gonna be best friends with Victoria. They're either gonna run off together or they're going to win together. And then Grizz won, and they killed her. They fucking killed her, and I'm not okay with that. Like, the only three cats I ended up liking in the entirety of this movie, and I was actually rooting for, was Magician
Mhm.
Cat, New Girl, and Grizz. Those were the only three. I didn't care what happened to any of the others. That gray cat who leads all the dances, he could fuck off. I don't like him.
I genuinely do not know that man's name, except he is
Ah,
like one of the main
he's
cats, and nobody ever says his name.
in some of the okay, so I looked up a little bit of information after. In
Hmm.
some of the musical plays, he's Rum Tum Tugger's responsible older brother, and they are both two sons that are directly related to Old D. Like they are Old D's last sons.
Okay.
They're the sons that we see of Old D's. So that was interesting. I can kind of see it.
Explains, I mean, it explains Tugger's proclivities if, his like most famous parent is most famous for like being the progenitor of so many cats.
And like his responsible older brother is just as much of a fucking pervert. I did not like him. He like appeared, yelled at New Girl, then got really close to New Girl and invaded her personal space. Then had a whole song about names that New Girl would clearly not know about because, she's New Girl. And then, like, tried to shove her onto his lap multiple times, and I'm just not here for it. I'm just not here for it. I did not like him.
Just
I,
not here for that sort of that invasion is not fun.
no, no, really uncomfortable. You want to know who didn't do that? McCavity didn't do that. Cavity did not do that.
He did not sexually invade anybody else's physical space, except when he
No.
showed up naked, and I felt kind of invaded.
Well, that's a you issue.
I mean, is it not weird that he's, to quote Lindsay Ellis, Idris Elba colored? He's described as a ginger cat, and then he shows up. No, I'm the color of Idris Elba's skin.
But they didn't do
A
that
thing
with
that
just
no other
him.
cat is.
No, they didn't do that with just him. There are a couple other cats that like look like they're just their actor's skin color instead of something else. Like that female she cat who's really nice to a New Girl but hates Grizz, but like constantly
Hmm.
switches back and forth between helping New Girl and kind of shoving New Girl around.
Hmm.
Cassandra. Her name is Cassandra, like the Rapunzel
Uh-huh.
character. She's the color. She's like her. Okay, so like her face matches the color of her fur, so I just assumed that was the actress's like skin tone as well.
Hmm.
It's not like it's just Idris Elba who gets treated that way.
But do they do it to any of the white actors?
I don't know. I honestly did not give a fuck about any of the white actors and what they were doing. Maybe New Girl, kinda, but I don't. They all bored me.
I mean, her fur was white. It wasn't like skin tone white though. It was like chalk white.
That's fair.
It always struck me as like that, like the animators didn't like weren't thinking like, and they were also mostly white.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
nightmarish time.
Okay, so let's try and have a little bit of an organized
Mhm.
conversation about this movie, despite the fact that this movie
Yes,
was not
okay.
organized whatsoever. So, my initial thoughts are again, Rum Tum Tugger sucks.
Yes.
If someone tells you to leave their house, you don't jump in, get in their personal space, fucking grab them, steal their food, and then run around the house getting all the other cats to chase you. You don't do that. That's rude as fuck. It's unnecessary. Get a life, Rum. Get a life. Fuck off. There was really no reason for Pitch Perfect or Night Host to be there.
Oh yeah, no need, no Rebel Wilson or James Corden were necessary for the chemical reaction that was this movie.
In fact, you could have saved a bunch of money by not getting a bunch of like A-list actors slash singers to do in this movie, and then maybe that could have gone towards graphics. I don't know, or more effects. I don't know.
As I understand it, money wasn't the issue with the effects. It was just the director was bad.
Well, still, you don't need if we're not gonna recognize any of the cat. We should not have been able to recognize any of the cats' faces to begin with. The fact that we do is an issue. So you didn't need the A-list actors. I mean, the only A-list actor I would say should have kept their role is Idris Elba. Because he just fucking owned it. He fucking owned it. He was having so
Oh
much
yeah, he's having
fun.
a great time.
He was having a great fucking time. The gray cat who got really super into it was not having as fun of a time, but he took it just as seriously. Kind of like that kid who
Growl
takes...
Tiger?
Yeah, kind of like that kid who takes, like, imaginary games too seriously and becomes the person they're pretending to be, and so they try and attack you. Because that's what's happening in the imaginary world. And it gets real too real, even when you say you're done playing the game. That's him. That's the gray cat. That's how uncomfortable the gray cat makes me.
The gray cat is the kid that doesn't know how to process his bleed.
Yeah. There.
Oh,
He just took it way too seriously. It did not look like he was having nearly as much fun as Idris Elba. But who was? Like...
I mean, it seemed like Dench and Ian McKellen were having some serious reaction, like on
God,
stage.
you were
Like
using...
there were so many like cutaway shots of like tension between them. Like here is Ian watching old Doot arrive, and they're like looking at
Oh.
each other, and he's like
I was
preening
like-
a little, and then here he is performing, and she's very glad to see him come, and he's kind of nervous, but he's also very proud of all of his stuff. There's a tension there.
Please don't use actors' names unless it's Idris Elba or Taylor Swift. If I knew their name, I would have said their name. I don't know their name.
Old Doot and Gus. Old Doot and Gus have a
Ian
serious
McKellen-
tension.
Ian McKellen's cat clearly has serious tension with Old D. I don't even think he's there to try and win the competition, so I don't know why McCavity even got rid of him. He's clearly just there because he's about to die, and he's like, oh yeah, time to go see my old flame one more time before this is my last year. Like, that's what it came off as. I don't understand why you had to take him out, McCavity. He was doing nothing. Get rid of the cat that did all the special effects in the background and was helping him out. Also, hey, Idris Elba, does your cat have magical powers, or was that something that was used in the musical to try and get away with not having to follow McCavity all the way back to the docks because it wasn't a movie, it was a musical, so you could use the magic powder Thanos snap shit to, like, cut away, and the movie was just like, we're gonna keep it. Is that what that was?
As I understand that the McCavity poofing people away thing is entirely invented for the movie because, like, in the stage show, there aren't any, there are no, like, big stars in the stage show. It's all, like, one big ensemble. And, like, there are cats that play the cats with names. Everybody has, like, a character role. But they're not, like, all singing about themselves. Most of these songs are sung by multiple parts about other people that aren't the singer. So there's, like... There's no big centralization that makes for good stars. And also, McCavity just doesn't show up until the end. He's not nicking everybody to, like, eliminate the competition. And at least until, like, the very end. That's something the film invented, to, like, have an excuse for the big celebrity actors to not be there every day of the shoot.
Honestly, I thought that was actually something I was gonna give the movie credit for, because if they, like, threw powder on a person in the musical to try and be like, oh yes, and this person's gone for now in another location that we'll visit later, so they don't have to instantly follow McCavity dragging them away. That made sense to me. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that you're using that. You don't need it because you're a movie and not a musical. so you don't need it. But cool. Now I can't even say that's a cool thing. Why was that in there? That makes no fucking sense.
In the lyrics of its song, they say that he like just doesn't care about anything, including the laws of physics. Like he will
Except
break
for
every rule, and so he'll teleport and levitate because he wants to.
except for at the very end where he says inevitable and then his power doesn't work. So
Yep,
does
it
he
just
suddenly
because
care
the
about
heavy
the
said
laws of
layer is too
physics?
powerful. I guess it's inevitable. It's
If
the good omens thing.
if he's so fucking powerful, why didn't he just teleport himself into the chandelier and take off of Grizz? Y'all could just take off together. If you're gonna
I
die,
guess
might as well not die alone. Like shit.
he seemed not to get it till the end to try and teleport, and then it didn't work because because magic and nonsense.
So this movie does have a very vague plot. It's not a plot that's good. It's not a plot that's
It does.
worthy of the time it was
It's not
given. You could have covered the same plot in an hour with fewer characters than you
for
did
sure.
in like nearly a 2 hour long movie. Um, but also like there were just like a better story you could have. There was a dozen better stories you could have told with it. Personally, I would have really liked it because when Gus is singing his song, and his song is one of the few I actually like understood what the point of it was.
Hmm.
And he's like, "Let me regale you with old stories of the past." I'm like, "Can we just get a movie of Gus being the narrator and he starts singing these opening numbers or like he starts narrating these opening scenes to like smaller stories about individual cats that are part of the Jellicle group that may or may not be around anymore." And then the whole movie is just a bunch of short stories, and like every short story gets at least one song that helps tell it, and then it's over. That would have
Hmm.
been a better movie. I would be down for that. You also didn't need all the big name actors for that. But I would
Yeah,
be down
for
for
sure.
it. I would be down for it. Just old Gus telling stories about Jellicle cats. I feel like we would understand more of what was going on with them if that is what happened.
An anthologized form certainly makes a lot of sense, and it better matches like where this all comes from. I'm sure I've mentioned it before in our own private conversations, but for the listeners at home, Cats, the movie, which as we know was based on Cats, the musical, the original mega musical, was based off of a book of poems by T.S. Eliot that he wrote for like his younger relatives, like children, called Old Possum's Book of Magical Cats, which is what it sounds like. It's just a bunch of books of poems about different individual cats and their idiosyncrasies and funny stuff. It's why all the lyrics of the songs don't really sound like they're meant to be taken literally. They sound like they're jokes about things that cats do. It's why Mr. Mistopheles' song jokes about, people will be looking for him, out in the backyard, but
Oh, magician
actually it was
cat.
in the hall. Or people hear me caterwauling, and it turns out I was roof fence. And then out of nowhere, from under a hat, I produced 7 kittens. That's not a joke about him conjuring kittens. It's a joke about their cat, Mr. Mistopheles, having a bunch of kittens. And the magic of, oh, you were wrong on several counts here. Like, that's part of, I think, the essential magic of why Cats is so crazy from the beginning. Like, from the start, as a musical, before Tom Hooper got his grubby little stupid hands on it, like, they took these like poems by a guy that was a scumbag. Watch Maggie Mae Fish's video on Cats to learn all about why T.S. Eliot was a scumbag, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. Scumbag T.S. Eliot wrote some pretty funny poems about what it's like to have and be around cats, and about and wrote different caricatures about different traits and behaviors cats have that are taken in isolation, cute, funny, and well written. And then Cats takes those and it's like, what if they were literal? But also, what if they were a plot about a death cult? And then what if we took one of his really sad songs that was unpublished and turned it into Memory? Or did they turn that into Grisabella? They turned that into Grisabella, and then I think Memory's lyrics were invented. I could have that reversed, but
I'm just gonna say this. The line of fuck, hang on. I gotta look at my notes real quick. They're such fucking nonsense, my notes. Half my responses are like, I don't like this cat, but this cat's cool, and like, what the fuck is going on? We're 15 minutes in, and I still don't understand what the fuck a Jellicle cat is, what other kind of
Mhm.
cats there are, why do these cats all have jobs and kind of like They have like Smurf descriptions. They literally have Smurf descriptions. Why the fuck does the ball only happen one time a year? Y'all saw New Girl arrive. Why are you like, why don't you know about the 3 different names? She clearly was a house pet. Why the fuck would she know about the 3 different names? Like, there's so many stuff like that.
You're so very angry about this.
I wasn't angry. I was so confused. I'm not angry about the movie. I am so confused by it. Oh, yeah, there was a moment in the movie where Idris Elba where I thought Idris Elba was the one scaring Rum Tum Fucker away, and that's what I called him in my notes. And then it turns out it was Grisabella, and I'm like, yes, Rum Tum Fucker, chase him off, get away, go away, it's Idris Elba, he's better than you. And then it wasn't Idris Elba, and it was Grizz. I'm like, oh, what is going on? There's like so much. But that song she sings in the middle where her and Victoria are talking and they're singing, yeah, Memory. That's a really great song, and it has my favorite line in the entire movie about Ghost or whatever.
Oh, that's Beautiful Ghost. That's the song they invented for this movie.
No, it's
Everybody's got to come up with a new song.
It's played twice. The line is used twice, and the line is used in 2 different songs. There's the one with Victoria and Grizz take turns singing at each other, and then there's one where Old D appropriates the line and uses it for the end. And Old D, don't steal other people's lines, okay? That was a Grizz line. Victoria stole it, but Victoria clearly had something going on with Grizz. So shut the fuck up, Old D, and sit the fuck back down. I literally cannot find it. I have no idea where it's at. But it was a really great song, and I like that one. It was probably my favorite song, where Grizz and Victoria are taking turns singing to each other and just being lovely and adorable. Though, why did New Girl try and hide? New Girl is Victoria. I switched between them. There's a line about Queen Victoria sung by Gus, and that was like, oh, that must be why all the cats like Victoria, because she's named after Queen Victoria. It has no relevance whatsoever, so that was just me trying to find symbolism in something that didn't exist again. But yeah, New Girl and Grizz...
Don't do that with this movie.
New Girl and Grizz are singing towards each other. Grizz very clearly wanted to be part of the party, but Cassandra chased her off, and I guess Cassandra is trying to protect New Girl from becoming the new Grizz. I don't know. She was really cool sometimes, and other times I hated how petty she was being. So that was that. So Grizz goes outside and sits right outside the building, leaning against a trash can and a street sign, just laminating about her life. And then she's looking straight at the door. She's looking straight at the door, waiting for someone to come because she saw New Girl watching her. So she sees New Girl come out. She immediately looks away, and she just starts singing the song about how sad she is and how she lives on the streets with her ghost and how her life has been so horrible. And, like, I'm not making fun of her. That's straight up what she does. And New Girl's like, oh, stop moving. She's singing now. I must pay attention. And then she tries to hide in the middle of the song. And it looked like Grizz was going to go look to her, but she wasn't where she was at before. So now Grizz is like, where the fuck did New Girl go? Grizz runs off when she sees New Girl again, even though they both knew they were there. Makes no sense for them not to have noticed each other. New Girl chases her down and sings a number to her about how she could follow her home, but she doesn't know where her home is, but they could find one together, and like, I just want them to run off together. I don't give a fuck about the plot of this movie. This movie didn't give a fuck about its plot. Just have Grizz and New Girl run off together. They either chill with Magician Cat and Macavity or not, their choice. Fuck it. And that would have been so much better. But she's literally... New Girl singing, I don't know where my home is, but you can follow me to it, which, like, so many implications. But her song begins with the line, wants me. No one will give me a chance or something like that. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? You ended up in the streets like an hour ago. No, everyone has done nothing but given you a chance. Literally no one tried to chase you away. Gray Cat has been dragging your ass along all throughout this movie. Magician Cat has tried to save you several times and even ended up saving him, which fucking cool. A plus. Give me that. Like, everyone has given you a chance.
I mean, I guess we're left to assume.
Everyone has taken time to explain shit to you and guide you and hang out with you and chill with you. You're not being treated like Grizz here. Oh my god.
I just sort of assume that she's talking about like how she was treated prior to the film starting, because she is handled really roughly when the humans that are in the show and are humans come and dump her off in a bag that's tied up in the middle of the street in a junkyard. One assumes, oh, she's probably had kind of a messed up home life, maybe several homes. I mean, one assumes nothing is going well if you're ended up, dumped in a dumpster.
And I get that. I totally get that. However, she's been shown nothing but like kindness and actually no. She's been shown nothing but like, hey, come chill with us. Hey, do this thing and then we're going to ditch you. Hey, I'm going to come back and save you. Hey, come chill with us again. Old D likes you. It's a good time. Like, since she's been with the other cats, she has had an overall mostly positive experience. Even McCavity is nice to her.
I guess the only bad thing so far is that Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer left her with the jewels while a dog was coming to maul them all.
Yeah, but literally their whole song is like, hey, we look out for each other first. If you can't keep up, you can't keep up. If you can't keep up, you can't keep up.
So you don't blame them for having given her fair warning beforehand that they were massive jerks?
Yeah, no, I really don't. It's not like it's a fucking Gray Cat thing where they forced her into it. They really didn't. They're like, hey, your friends ditched you. You want to come chill with us? Just to give you a heads up, we're kind of shitty. Everyone says we're kind of shitty. We kind of have a bad reputation. But we're mostly just trying to have fun. So as long as you don't get caught, you can have fun with us. And she couldn't keep up. That's her problem. She chose to hang out with them. That was her problem.
I would argue that jerkiness is jerkiness with or without forewarning.
I mean, yeah, but with everything that's bad in this movie, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not even gonna be mad at them. I can give them that. Are they twins? Is that what Mungo and Rumple are? It's never explained, but they look fucking identical.
I think they're siblings. I think that's the implication, that these are close siblings. These are also alley cats, so you know what? Interpret that as you will.
I'm trying not to think about that. There's enough incest in the Warrior series. I don't want to think about it in a cat
Warrior
movie.
cats get into that nonsense?
Oh, not intentionally, but so there's a lot of unplanned families in the first book, so then they go back and add ancestors, and then it just turns out the ancestors were brothers or some shit. So accidentally retconning for incestuous relationships.
Oh yeah, George Lucas yourself.
Yeah, George Lucas yourself.
George Lucas all over.
God
so
I guess I just the first oh my god, all the fucking fat shaming.
Okay, we're gonna go into Bustopher Jones now, and I guess a little of Gumby Cat because there's also some of that there. What do you want to talk about with Bustopher Jones? Because I think this is a very fascinating it's I was talking about this in our pre-gaming session. I really think that this is a fascinating cross section of 70 years of fat phobia in England and America right here, Bustopher Jones. Because the original poem, like I've mentioned, was written by T.S. Eliot, a monster, in the 50s. And then it was adapted by, Weber in the 80s. And then Tom Hooper in the Forever Times that are now.
Times that are now.
What gets me about the sequence in the Forever Times that are now in the after years of the apocalypse. What fascinated me on the rewatch here is that I've listened to this song, both the like original like Broadway cast album and the, TV show host version too many times in the intervening year. Too many
Did you
times.
just say
And the
virgin
thing about
instead
the
of
version that's
version?
on like the Catch 20 Freudian slip. And the thing that's on this version, like the 2019 Cats album, is that they cut out all the terrible improv. Which is good because it's terrible improv and you should have it if you like music. But Tom Hooper doesn't like music at all, which is why he has to keep interrupting his musical numbers with bad improv and weird mice jokes. I like the mice. We'll probably get into that. But the thing is, when you
Are they
insert
slaves?
what's his face's improv into this,
Are the
we'll
mice,
get into it.
are the mice slaves? I honestly wasn't thinking about
They're
the mice.
certainly not their own full being.
I wasn't even
The
thinking about the
cockroaches certainly
mice.
seem slave.
I didn't. I hadn't spent any time on them because I did not care. I
The thing about James Corden's improv is that it treats fat in a very different way than like the original, like the lyrics of the song. Like the lyrics of the songs "Bust for Joan" are like, "Hey, look at this well-to-do cat, this very wealthy cat that is like quote like line for line from the text. He's putting on weight every day." Because he's so wealthy and he's got it all, and like it uses wealth as fatness as an indicator of like wealth, power, respectability, a sense of like taste, which is still using, which is still fat phobia. It's still using fat as a product of like as an indicator of like internal being and essence. Not to
yeah,
mention the connections that they're making between fat and like excess and greed and in gestures vaguely at certain depictions of certain Roman emperors.
yeah,
Um, but then
and
you have James Corden's improv where he's like, I'm sensitive about my weight, the thing
like
I'm singing about right now.
yeah, no, no, no. I actually marked that because like, what do you mean you're sensitive about your weight? You literally just did a whole song and dance number about your weight. You literally just said how happy you were. You were so fat and you can't wait to be skinny to get fat again because you want to be reborn wealthy once more. That makes no fucking sense. That literally goes against everything the character just fucking said.
Honestly, I know that it's a dig that Rebel Wilson cat shoves at him that he wants to get reborn to be thin so he can get fat again. But honestly, that sounds like it shot the moon and came back around to like something that I can imagine a fat positive activist saying. Like, I want to be skinny again so I can become fat again.
I don't.
I don't know. Some there seems like there's something accidentally like punk rock about that.
I mean, well, Bustafer Host Night Cat denies that at first when it first gets said, so it could be
Yeah, yeah.
maybe that's not actually true. Maybe he
It's
actually
probably
has
just a
self
dig.
conf. Maybe he does actually have self confidence issues about his
Hmm.
weight. Don't sing a whole song and dance number about it then. Gumby did not move like a cat when she's getting off the chair. That's not what a cat does. You didn't need to
It's
spread your
just yeah.
legs and
Look,
you
it's
didn't
funny because
you didn't need to like spread your legs and scratch yourself that way because that's also not what a cat does. Bustifer, you don't need to
what's
constantly
Rebel
hold
Wilson?
your hands right like this because that's not what cats do.
You know how cats hold their hands right up by their necks all the time?
Or like right there. No, that's not how it happens. That's not a thing. Uh was Gumby and Gray Cat in a relationship? Because like he's all over her and then the moment she's gone he never thinks about her again.
I mean, you might as well infer that. He certainly seems to know her well. I don't.
The whole song
I
begins
think
with
he is
him.
actually in the musical,
The whole song begins
the one
with
that like
him.
sings the soft part of Gumby Cat.
Yeah, the whole song begins with him talking about how attractive she is and how he loves to visit her when the window is open. But like he never thinks about her again, never mentions her again, never looks for her, doesn't even notice that she's missing.
I mean, he probably just was like, "Oh, I love this character. I love Gumby Cat," and then he realizes, "Oh, you're played by Rebel Wilson, and you're being given a lot of leeway to improv here." And he was immediately like, "Okay, never mind. No, that's not a part of my character in this one." Sorry, Tom. I'm not doing it.
I don't know. I don't know. And then, like, she has a fat suit on that she takes off to escape. What?
Is it a fat suit? I thought it was just a skin suit.
I mean, it makes her, when she takes it off, she's like half the size she was before. So
Mm,
maybe it is just supposed to be a skin suit and like they animated it to be a fat suit. I don't know. Bustafer also at the very end of the movie no longer has most of the weight he had for most of the movie. They suddenly are like half the size as they were before. I don't know what the implications of that are, but I don't like them. I
I guess the implication is that they were shooting in a fat suit originally, and then the effects people forgot to add the fat on later for the later scenes,
Yeah, but if you
or
don't
they didn't care.
if you don't consider that and you just think about what are the implications this movie is trying to go with the way it's presenting fat characters,
It's gross, and how funny it is that they're gross.
like
That's most of the joke.
Old D is also not like a small character, but she's the only one that's like really treated positively. Like Gumby and Bustafer host night also try and like present their cats as positively as it being positive that they're fat, which, you know, not a bad thing. I'm here for it. But again, you're associating that with greed and wealth and status, and then like you have them being half the size they were originally at the end of the movie, and really only Old D keeps the same weight throughout the entire thing. I don't know. I didn't like their characters whatsoever. Although I will say Gumby saying, "Hey," Gumby telling Rum Tum that he's milking it too much or whatever in the middle of his song. I did like that. I was just thinking that the entire time. Can he stop? Can he just stop singing? Why did he say, "Oh, he's sick of milk, run out of the building, turn around, run back in after screaming, milk?" Like, I'm with you, Gumby. I don't know why he's doing any of this. I don't know why Rum Tum is in this movie. He doesn't have a point. He makes a few, like, cameos in other songs. When the Bustafer song, one of his girls literally pours alcohol into Bustafer's mouth before Bustafer gets peer pressure into killing himself. I'm sorry, he doesn't die. He jumps into a pipe which takes him to the ship where he's held captive until the end. But he's peer pressure into doing it. Even though he knows it's not like a smart move because Macavity. And then like Rum Tum Tugger also tries to protect New Girl when Taylor Swift comes in and drugs the whole room without their consent. Like
Yeah.
it literally goes Magician Cat tries to get her out because he knows what catnip is, and he's like, "Oh fuck, this is not about to be a good time. Let's get the fuck out of here." And then he gets caught by catnip, so he can't do it anymore. So Rum Tum Tucker tries to get her out, but then he gets caught, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm useless now. I don't know what you want from me." Then Cassandra literally tries to fight off the other cats as they get into a line and glare at her and Victoria before she also gets hit by the catnip and becomes useless. And Victoria's just like, "Oh, whatever shall I do? I'm standing here watching all of my friends get drugged." And then another cat sneaks up behind her, dumps a whole fucking barrel of drugs on her head. And then she's useless as well. I like that. I liked all the cats trying to defend each other from what is clearly them being drugged without their consent by Taylor Swift.
That's yeah.
I know. Oh my god, the themes of consent in this movie are fucking everywhere. Oh my god, it's
Themes
not
of
good.
non-consent.
It's not good. It's not good.
I mean, they're bad cats doing a lot of bad stuff to the other cats. Yep, there's a lot of that.
When I saw
So
the,
here's oof.
go on. I just they're
Go
so.
on, no, go on. I think you'll be more
When
on
I
topic than
saw
I would be.
when I saw the moon lowering, I was like, "Oh, McCavity's about to have a show tune number." I was so excited. I was so excited. I'm like, it's McCavity time. And then it wasn't. It was Taylor Swift, and she drugged an entire room with the help of the twins. Which, you know what?
Yep.
I will hold them accountable for that. You shouldn't go around drugging people, even if the bad guy asks for your help, guys. Okay? Mungo, Rumple, that was a bad, stupid decision. He literally ditched y'all there. He did not give a fuck about you. Be smarter.
They were part of a whole song about what a bad guy is. I mean, like you said, maybe they should have known better going into it. It's really their fault.
It really is their fault. I know what you're getting at. I know.
Victim blame together. Let's have a good time.
I'm not victim blaming. Okay? I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying I am not angry at Mungo and Rumple for what they do because at least they're honest with Victoria versus all the other cats literally ditch her ass. Every time Danger shows up, they ditch New Girl and then she's got to find them. And then they're like, oh, we were wondering where you were every single fucking time. At least with Mungo and Rumple, they're like, oh yeah, no, this is where you can find this, and this is where you can find that. This is what we do. We're the troublemakers here. You're on your own if you get caught. At least they gave her the heads up. No one else gave her that courtesy.
Very true.
They're still assholes. Everyone in this movie's an asshole. But, like, they did give her the heads up. Better than others.
So, stepping aside from characters, which have always been sort of like a weird Frankensteinian monstrosity in this whole beast, and moving on to, I think, what is supposed to be the center of the whole show, which is why it happens so often.
Can we not talk about the plot?
Let's talk about the music.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the music. No, the plot is nonsense that they keep trying to Frankenstein onto it, like the characters. I'm talking about the songs. So, like, clearly you liked Ghosts and Beautiful Ghost and Memories, so much so that they have blended together into a single unified song.
I mean, it was just...
Also, you are, like me, a big stan of Asparagus, the theater cat.
Who? Oh, Gus. Gus.
Yes.
Wait,
his full name is Asparagus.
What? When was that?
He is. It's the line. It's like one of the first lines in a song.
I just thought he liked to eat veggies. I don't know.
Nope.
I did not like the music.
I see you, like me, have a lot of issue discerning what lyrics are in a song.
I did not like the songs.
None of them. Not a single one.
I
mean, besides Memory and Ghost.
I like Memory and Ghost. I like some of Gus's lines.
No fun to be had with Skimbleshanks, which I felt like was one of the better done musical numbers.
Honestly, the part where he starts tap dancing was the best. Best dance number in the entire fucking movie.
Oh yeah.
By far.
I love how that gets reincorporated later when he gets kidnapped and he like threateningly tap dances at Growl Tiger.
There's an issue with the Skimbleshanks one. Is it Shanks or Stanks? I don't know. Point is, there's an issue with his number where like it comes after the halfway mark in the movie, and after the halfway mark, maybe stop introducing new characters, or have him say anything of importance before that point, so he can. So
if it's any consolation,
so we care about his dance.
He doesn't matter after either.
No, he doesn't. You could have taken that whole thing out, made the movie shorter, wouldn't change the goddamn thing. Love the tap dance number. Didn't give a fuck about it otherwise.
That's the weird thing, really. We talk about like anthologizing stuff, but the truth is, if you wanted to do an overarching plot, the thing you have to do is make sure all the cats that have like numbers about who they are and like what their thing is, they should be relevant to the plot. Not the one cat that has so little to do with anything that you had to make up your own song for her to have a character.
So this feels like
there were enough cats that had songs about what their thing was. You could have just picked a few of those.
So like this whole thing felt like a self-insert movie. We're like, hey, welcome to this magical, fantastical world of, hey, really, if you're a pet owner, do not throw your cats out. That's just not okay. Just don't. I don't care what this movie tells you. Cats do not go around singing dance numbers. Welcome to this magical, fantastical world of cats singing men being Jellicle cats together, though you never find out about any other kind of cat. Here's a blank character that you can like imprint
Yep.
on and like shove all your emotions on and interactions with as she's going through this journey of learning about all
Mm-hmm.
these different cats. She will be so bland and have so little personality that the few times she's treated nicely by people, you will immediately start to ship them. Because that's what you do, fandom culture. And that's what I did. I'm not even going to apologize. Point of the matter is, it's a self-insert story. I know, I've written
Mm-hmm.
them. That's exactly what it is. You have to leave it just vague enough
Yep.
so the readers and watchers will continue to care about what's happening to the main character without her reacting strongly to one person or another. Like, even when McCavity's around, she's not scared. Because why would you be scared? You don't know shit about McCavity, and it's Idris Elba. Why would you be scared?
Ha, ha.
Magician Cat Grizz
It's
and
very
New Girl
true.
should have just ran away together. The whole movie should have just been about them realizing what a horrible situation they are all trapped in, and they just run off with each other, the three of them. Let them be happy. Gus can handle old dude. Old D. I don't give a fuck. Like, just Magician, Grizz, the New Girl, go away, have fun, go somewhere else, be in a better movie.
That's your rewrite is like, no, flee the movie.
Become one of Gus's stories that he tells later about the three of you just running off together and being happy.
I'm surprised that Mistopheles resonated so much with you. I don't like this version of Mistopheles. I feel like he's like
Everyone
the
else
most
is so
like
bad.
incel-y high school boy I've ever seen. Like Jason Derulo, horny on Maine is like his name. And I can't fault him for that. That's like his thing. Like,
Oh, shit,
cool.
that is Jason
Jason Derulo's Rum Tum Tugger is super excited all the time. He's also really straighted out because apparently, like, him and Mistopheles kind of have like a flirty thing, like in the clips I've seen of the stage show.
Where was that?
But that's not here. They both instead are flirting with Victoria.
I would have
Because
loved that.
one, audience insert. Two, definitely has to be super heterosexual, this whole thing. We're afterwards, you and we're just gonna watch Mr. Mistopheles and Rum Tum Tugger's stage show versions. You'll love it. It's so much gayer.
Oh yes.
Like,
I'm
It's
happy.
also way more sexual.
Well, I don't like sexual things, but I'm down for like Magician Cat getting with Rum Tum, and then Grizz and Victoria could just run off together. They could just run off and be happy together.
Yes.
I'm down for that. I'm
Just
good
be
with
two
that too.
fun gay couples together. Have a good adventures. Go to bomb
Get away from the
out
death
London.
cult.
Have a
Get away
good
from the death
time.
cult.
Maybe it's the 40s, not the 50s.
Get away from the death cult. Let's just run away together from the death cult. Just
Rule of thumb: get away from the death cult.
Oh my god.
If this was like an ongoing series that we had just come to the ending of, I think that our like the fanfic that we write to celebrate the end of a series would have been those two couples running off into bombed out London and like building their new lives. And like the lesson being the lesson that, it feels like the story should have been building to, which is, hey, if you have such nice lives, why are you trying to die and get a better one? You seem to have built a good one already. Or alternatively, in the case of Grisabella, your life has just gotten better. Why would you want to die? Things have just gotten good right here, right now. The only person that you should want to go is somebody who doesn't really have any options moving forward.
Because she's religiously, indoctrinated. She's been indoctrinated into the death cult. That's why she feels so shitty about herself, because they've told her she should feel shitty about herself. My question is, why the fuck does McCavity care? Why does McCavity care so much?
Seems like such a rebel.
What
does he want?
Seem like he gives a fuck about the death cult. Why does he care about being reborn? Is he secretly religious? We don't see it anywhere.
Maybe like the through line is that all the cats, what they really want is just to like belong to each other, to people. And so that's like why everybody has to have their like person. Like if you're not a Jellicle cat, if you're like Rum Tum Tug, I guess not Rum Tum Tugger. If you're Rumple Teaser and her brother, they have each other. They are Jellicle. They also have each other, even though they're hanging out with McCavity. T.S. Eliot's not T.S. Taylor Swift's character has Macavity. She's his current like babe. Um,
Another Freudian
and
slip, huh?
Macavity knows that he doesn't have anything. He's not a Jellicle. He doesn't have a brother or sister. He's just got like a long line of virgin whore complexes that are coming to him.
Hang out with
And
Growl
what
Tiger
he really wants is
then.
to belong again. He just can't admit that, so he wants to die and be reborn as someone that belongs.
Hang out with Growl Tiger
Headcanon.
then. Okay, hang out with Growl Tiger. Be best buds with him. Growl Tiger deserved better. I don't feel like Growl Tiger deserved to die. He literally said at the beginning, "This ship is literally all I have. It's all I know. I will not leave. Macavity wants you here, and I cannot make him go. So here we are. This is just how we are now. This is where we're at." Like, he didn't want to be there just as much as the captives didn't want to be there. He just wanted to live in fucking peace. Macavity could have just hung out with him instead of invading his home and shoving people into his little fucking personal space. And then have Growl Tiger die at the end. That was bullshit. It was bullshit. He didn't need to die. It was completely unnecessary. That's like killing fucking the Grouch in Grouchland in the Elmo movie. You don't do it because it doesn't make sense.
Oh my god. Hashtag justice for Growl Tiger. I think Growl Tiger's free time is mostly spent like workshopping one-man shows with Gus. That's why Macavity can't hang out with them. They're spending all their time back at the theater, like getting their acts together. Literally getting their acts together. You want to hear my headcanon for Gus though? I had like an elaborate background story for Gus and Old Dude, okay? So like they
I
have
can
all
get
these
behind
tense
that.
looks at each other.
I just
And they're both like really old. I don't think it's a romantic tension, is the thing. I think that the tension is something much older and much more like complex and refined.
I just
Okay, so like Gus.
can I before you go on, I just
Yeah,
kind of
go.
I just kind of assumed Gus was the gray cat and Rum Tum Tiger's father, since he's the only one we see show interest in Old D, but not in the same explicit way all the other cats do. So I just kind of
Oh.
assumed they were Old Thane. His kids are the ones that were supposed to probably lead this musical, who do nothing in the end. I just kind of assumed that's
Oof.
where we were going with it. But
I mean,
where's your interpretation? Because I would love to hear this.
so I certainly think they could be old flames. In fact, it adds a certain like bitterness to what develops further on. Consider this. They tell us that the Jellicle Ball is held every year. Once a year, someone gets the good death.
God
As
damn it.
as I think Lindsay Ellis puts it. Once a year, somebody gets to die the good way and gets reborn and like gets to go to the cat afterlife with their perfect life. The oldest cats here are Gus and Old Dude. And Old Dude is the one in charge. So presumably Gus, who is a lifelong performer, has been coming to these balls for a long time now. Like whatever the moment was, the old like that he felt like he had lived the fullness of his life. Like immediately after he like did his like stunning performance as Fire for Fiddle, the Fiend. Like whenever he
When the
like
Fiend
10 years
fell.
after that, when he realizes that like okay, my life is starting, like I've hit my peak, and now I'm kind of getting like I'm on the other half of the hill here. This is bad. I'm gonna start trying to earn this. So he goes and he starts performing, and he's gonna have been performing for years and years and years. Like for them to be so old. I mean, I have to assume that this man, has been trying for a very long time to get reborn and have a better chance at this life. And this woman that he knows, that may have been his old flame, that is the only person that is about his age, with whom he's had a complex and deep relationship spanning an entire lifetime, continuously refuses to let him move on. And there's like no animosity there. It's like it's a friction. It's a rough, complicated like set of physics between these two big
So
personalities. He doesn't outright hate her for it, but he also it's a
I don't know.
gnawing, painful, aching, aged desperation
I don't know if
that
that's
she
as
just
much.
doesn't give in. But they still ooh,
I don't know if that's as much a
complex
headcanon.
connection.
I don't know if that's as much of a headcanon as it is like actually implied.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was watching the movie, I had two thoughts. Either Gus doesn't want like the good death, he doesn't want to be reborn, or
Mm-hmm.
and he's just doing all of this because he enjoys acting, and or he wants to impress old
Oh.
D, or old D likes him so much she's purposely not letting him
Mm.
face the good death because she doesn't want to see him specifically go, and that's what's going on.
Mm.
Because it kind of seems that, hey, if old D can like Grizz so quickly and like get over her, I don't know what the fuck she did in the past, but like get over it,
Mhm.
so like she shouldn't be treated like an outcast by all the other cats anymore. Why didn't she do so sooner? Huh, it's almost like they're like, well, this could cause trouble if this new cat that everybody likes starts hanging out with Grizz, and then that could cause, like, issues within the, like, the settings and the dynamics that we have set up in the Jellicle Cat world.
Ooh.
So maybe
Politically
it's
upsetting.
best to just get rid of Grizz before it becomes an issue.
The good death as a method of establishing her power and continuing the reign of the old Doot hierarchy.
Old D is
Ooh,
secretly the
now we're
villain the
getting to the
whole
root of the
time.
issue.
But like that's the only thing I can see wrong with that is that if that was the case, why not let McCavity have it? And there are two reasons
Oh, yeah.
there are two reasons why I think you can come to the conclusion of
Hmm.
why she can't let McCavity have it, even if she would want to get rid of the little fucker. Because A, it's presented as a good thing, so why would you reward bad
Mm,
behavior?
yeah.
The other cats may start to realize, oh shit, if you go, you never come back. You straight up die. Who knows if you're reborn or not, but you're dead. This life of yours is done. B,
Mm,
B, and like if she does that, they would like start to realize, and that could quickly cause the whole like celebration thing to fall apart. B, she needs a common enemy to keep all the cats united together so that they don't
ooh.
tear each other's fucking throats out when they get together for the one ball a year.
Mm,
And those are the two reasons why I can think that she's still like kind of secretly the villain the whole time and doesn't get rid of
mm.
McCavity. Also,
I guess the only other option is like a.
also, Gus cheers when Growl Tiger dies and says the fall of the fiend again or whatever. And like I would like it if they hung out, but I can't get behind them being best theater
Mm,
friends since Gus is the one who fucking kills him.
that is fair. I guess clearly they can't have had a complex friendship and ongoing
No,
relationship.
they
That is
can.
true.
They can. I just don't want it to be adorable because that pissed me off at Gus. Gus is one of the few characters I liked. Like, Ground Tiger did not fucking deserve that shit.
No. Oh man.
This is
Oh.
the only movie I have ever watched where I like almost all the villains more than the main characters. More than the good guys. Like, the only one I
And then
can't
Taylor
stand
Swift showed
is
up, and you're
Taylor
like, no.
Swift. The only one I can't stand is Taylor Swift's character. You didn't need the druggle hole
Hmm.
room. You didn't really need to even be there. You could have had a whole arc where like Grizz is forced to work with McCavity because that's the only person who will be near her, and then she has
Hmm.
to come to the decision of like,
Hmm.
does she want to hurt other Jellicle cats for the way they've hurt her, or is she not gonna work with McCavity? Like, that could have been a whole fucking arc, and I wanted more Grizz time. And like, there looks like there's a scar on the right side of her head. I don't know if this is how the makeup was done or
Hmm.
whatnot, but if you look on this side, there's more fur going right back there, even though you can see that there's makeup going back. But on this one, it looks like there's a scar, and it was really glossy and kept reflecting the first 30 minutes of the movie. And I'm like, who gave you that, baby girl? Who hurt you, Grizz? Damn! Who hurt Grizz? I really only care about Grizz. Characters are
Oh.
always the most important part of any story for me. And it leaves me conflicted with this movie because this movie is like, you could claim it's only musical numbers and characters and no real plot. But like, the characters aren't fleshed out and there's too many of them for a 2 hour
Hmm.
long movie where they don't get to talk outside of singing at each other.
It might be more fair to say that these songs aren't about characters than they are about caricatures.
Yeah.
Like, here are broad outlines of a single, like, cartoon in a moment in time, frozen still. Here is how they, act and behave and essentially
Yeah.
are. No implication of, like, plot or change or history. I mean, there is implication of history, at least in Gus's case, And I
Yeah.
love the way that Syrian's performance like implies like the weight of like, I've acted with Irving, pauses. Oh man, Irving's dead. I miss Irving so much. I've acted with Gree. Like they're like certainly they can imply history, but they don't so much imply arcs. I guess Gus does because it does tell the story of his life. I used to be this big actor, and now I'm just the old theater cat. And I've got kind of like some mixed feelings about that. On the one, I'm proud of my work. On the other, I'm sorry that I'm no longer at the peak of my creative abilities. Like, that's a full character. But Skimble Shanks the railway cat, the cat on the railway train that's great at his
He'll make
job
sure
and people love to work with.
he'll make sure nothing ever goes wrong on the railroad train. Like, fuck off. You're unnecessary.
Like, there's no arc there. Grisabella, the glamour cat, like, is a still image that they try to turn into a character and that resonates enough that you can kind of like pry open a full character, but it's still not like a full arc until like they have the character responding and building onto it. That one at least gets an arc, but the song in and of itself doesn't give a full arc. At
No,
least
the
it's
song
building towards
doesn't.
one. But like half of the songs that are about characters don't. Like Mungo
They're
Jerry and Rumple Teaser, it's just these two cats are bad
they're
boys.
just fucking troublemakers. They're just here to cause trouble. Fucking that's exactly what they are. They're if like
And
you always have the pair of troublemakers in a story. Like off the top of my head, George and Fred Weasley, although they aren't like fucking cruel like these cats are. They're not as cruel as they are. I just, why do you think a magician cat's an incel?
okay, can I get into this?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so
I
like
keep going back to that. Like, what? I don't. Is there anything he does that comes off that way? So I'm really interested.
he's just like weirdly desperate and coming off of like having spent a lot of time just watching the stage play Mistopheles. It's way creepier to like, oh, it's so weird to see you, and also you interested in a woman, and also you just like recharacterized entirely from being, fun, competent, dancing, magical cat to incompetent, clumsy, sort of klutzy, romantically interested, but also no idea how to really like act on that in a way that isn't like vaguely a little weird. Everyone thinks that you're kind of nerdy and you're just sort of like constantly awkward and unsure of yourself
He's
and just like
definitely a nice guy, but he never comes off as like the pretend kind of nice guy to me.
he's de he's definitely full nice guy. Perhaps I'm using incel a bit too liberally, but he's certainly just weird. Like, would it be fair to say like maybe weird is even strong, but he's
I
certainly
mean,
just like a lot more of his time and character is dedicated to like how he's interested in Victoria and he wants to
that's
impress
fair.
her, but also he's a klutzy dork and it's so funny and like we're gonna turn this whole song into one long, slow build up of him trying to find confidence.
Yeah,
Which
no, I hated
I
his
don't know.
song. It was one of the worst songs in the whole fucking play. I like him as a character, but like
Oh
that
yeah.
song was
That's
fucking
a
worthless.
crime what they did.
Why the hell are you having the magician cat go up against the magical serial killer cat? That's literally written exactly like that in my notes. I don't even have to look at it for that because that seems like a bad idea. That seems like the Cavity could just use his powers, summon magician cat to him, and then like fight to the death. Magician cat's gonna die. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen. But no, that's not what happened. That was disappointing. But like, yeah.
I don't know. I guess what just rubs me the wrong way is he's just so like weird, awkward, interested in Victoria, very much the nice guy.
That's
And I
fair.
don't know, that just like rubs me the wrong way at this point. I'm like, I don't want that.
I mean,
You're
that's
not
valid.
the most unpleasant character here, but you're certainly like I know what you could have been, and that's what disappoints me most of all.
Yeah, no, and he could have easily gone that way, and maybe if he had had more character, maybe if any of them had had more characterization, they would have
Mhm.
gone that way. But like, he's so tamed compared to all the other creepy ass cats. He does kind of come off as
Mhm.
like a genuine nice guy. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have lied about not running off. when literally everyone ditches her, and then he's like, I came back because I was worried you were gonna miss old D. Like, okay, but you told her you didn't run off, and then you said you did, so fucking don't lie, bitch. But like, other than that, when it seems like the gray cat is like uncomfortably close and isn't explaining shit to her but talking at New Girl, a Magician Cat does come in and like throws in throwaway lines that actually explain more about what the fuck is going on at the beginning, and he doesn't like yank her around like Gray Cat does.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so uncomfortable by the main like cat leading all the dance numbers. I was just like, yes, Magician, get in there, get her to the outskirts, keep her away from the main fucking attention, because this is a creepy situation. It seems like everyone's into Old D, but they're also related to Old D, and I'm so uncomfortable. New Girl, go hang out with Grizz. Oh my
Run, be
god.
free.
Yeah, and like when Old D arrives, everyone immediately bows, but New Girl doesn't, because she doesn't understand what the fuck is going on. And like Magician Cat slowly like guides her. He doesn't pull her or shove her or like push her around. He like literally takes her hands and moves her out of the way so that Old D can walk right by her without her getting fucking bitch slapped, because Old D felt like the person who totally would have bitch slapped a bitch for not moving out of her fucking way. I was waiting for that, and the Magician Cat comes in like, yeah, no, we're gonna stand on the side real quick. So he didn't come off as like incelish to me at all,
Mm-hmm.
but I could easily see how you would interpret that in his character, because a lot of that is how nice guys are typically introduced in TV shows, and then you find out, oh, they're really toxic later. He just never gets a
Yeah.
toxic reveal, so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't bother me as much, and everyone else so fucking uncomfortably physical. It seems like he's the most normal one there, besides like Grizz is also kind of normal, Gus is also kind of normal. Ground Tiger just want to be left alone, and I relate. Ugh.
Oh man. So we're coming up on the end here. Is there any like big blazing cat-shaped bullet point that you wanted us to get to?
Oh gosh, let me look for my notes real quick. I wrote 5 pages of notes over this fucking movie. Oh my gosh, just some casual. If your movie starts and you're using a lot of like red coloring at the beginning and like creepy shots
Hmm.
of these people who are like anthropomorphic cats being trapped inside, that's gonna give it a horror feel. Don't do that if you're not gonna make it a horror movie. Because I even messaged this to you. It felt like it was a horror movie at the beginning, and then you see her getting tossed out in a tied up bag in the middle of the street, and all the other cats are like hissing and getting really fucking like ready, like they're getting ready to strike. That it's about to be a violent confrontation, and then it wasn't, thankfully. But then the whole movie steers away from that like opening like feel, and it's just, oh god, I did not like this movie.
Hmm.
I didn't like anything about it besides a couple of the characters, and most of that is like what I could have seen happening with them, not what actually happened with them. Literally, my headcanons are the only thing that's like keeping me
It was
somewhat
only the Tumblr.
intrigued.
It was just the Tumblr goggles that were able to save you through all of this. It's like
Oh
strap
my god.
those on tight, imagine a better story, hope for the best.
I literally watched a bunch of the His Dark Materials series before watching
Hmm.
this, and God, I don't know. That was a bad choice. That did not help with this movie at all, because that's so serious, and this has nothing.
It is sound and fury, and it is signifying an astonishing amount of nothing. Yeah, you know what I do like that is in
What?
this movie that isn't in the soundtrack? Well, two things really. One, I love all the synth in the score. I'm a sucker for this like very 80s synth sound. It's very like the 1980s original Tron movie, a movie that we'll have to get to at some point now that I've discovered that you haven't seen it. It's like nice and crunchy. I like it. I also like the mice. I don't like how the mice are used. I don't like that the mice show up to be like these, you know, nightmarish interruptions in the songs because Tom Hooper like really needs to like just like sit down and talk to a therapist about his ADHD because he just can't sit still through an entire musical number, the poor kid. Uh maybe don't direct musicals if you find music boring. Just a suggestion,
Mm.
Tom. He uses them as a like interruptive jokes, but I think that they serve an interesting function in that they're the only characters that know the appropriate reaction to cats, which is to run. Don't be around cats. Run from cats. Either the creature or the musical. They understand that's the appropriate reaction.
But
Scream cats and run.
they're constantly getting trapped in the fucking dance numbers. Oh god, those
They're
poor
like, "Oh
fuckers.
no, I'm in cats, surrounded by cats." Ah!
I need to get the fuck
And they're
out
just
of
fun. I
here.
like the kid actors. They seem like they're having a good time. They're really like excellent child actors, really. I mean, they're only on screen for like
They
a
were
net
kid
30
actors?
seconds, maybe.
They were kid
They're
actors?
all children.
Oh shit.
All the mice are children. The cockroaches are adults, but the mice are children.
Why?
That is one of the weird, like, for no reason. They're just all children.
What? What?
The mice are all children. I guess that's why Rebel Wilson never eats any. I I love that when Mr. Mistopheles raises his hat on the line, uh like conjured seven kittens right out of his hat. He lifts it up and there's just three mice there, and one of them's like, "Please, you're my favorite," and then like falls off and is like, "Ah, run!" And then the other two are trapped as he puts the hat back on again. It's
So is
nightmarish and it's hilarious, but I love how they just show up in Mystery Science Theater, the movie itself, and then they flee. It's
so
hilarious.
so about that line from Magician Cat, cause it went right over my
Yes.
fucking head.
Yes.
Is he supposed to be like a trans allegory then, or is it like a joke that everybody then proceeded to like continue to use but completely ignore the implications of after? Cause like
It's like that's a lot. Like I said, a lot of like
T.S. Eliot is a fucking trash man, and he would never have like included that. That was a joke about them like identifying the sex of their cat. But like in the musical, is it treated like is it treated that way, or is it continue? Is it also still just a fucking throwaway line?
the truth of the matter is, I think that yeah, like most of the songs, all these interesting, funny lyrics that are jokes about the actual behaviors of cats are like passed over on a literal level. So it goes straight from, oh, misidentification of gender, which is literally like what being a transgender person is. Your gender was misidentified. So like, ironically, T.S. Eliot did write a trans cat. he he didn't know it, but like by the like if you look at the rules as written of transness, that's a trans character. Mr. Mistal, I'm not sure how it works if they be
Well,
identified trans one way or the other. It seems like either way doesn't really flow. Suffice to say, there's a misidentification of gender. I couldn't tell you which gender is the actual true essential one.
that's fair.
I like
What I meant
Mr.
is
Mistopheles trans man as a take.
okay, yes, but that wasn't my question. My question was because in the movie it's completely grazed over. In
Hmm.
the book, it's a joke about, hey, we didn't realize our cat was female, or we didn't realize our cat could have kittens because we're humans and we just assumed and we didn't fucking ever check. Um, in the musical,
No, it's
which is
never been a part
apparently
of the musical's
gayer.
interpretation,
Okay, in the
as
musical
far
with
as I
that.
know.
I was just wondering about that because you're literally the only one between the two of us who would know, and like I wasn't sure if that was ever like paid any attention to.
I mean, it's certainly see. I like the take, and I'm sure that there are other people that have looked at that line and been like, "Oh, I know what that's talking about. That's hilarious." I'm a big fan of magical like trans man, Mr. Mistopheles, like conjuring babies.
I could be.
I
I'm
like
here
that.
for
That's a
that.
fun take.
I'm here for that. That's really
Like most
funny.
trash things, it would be greatly improved by making it gayer and transer.
Just fucking just let Grizz and Victoria run off together. That's all I wanted. That's all I
Oh my
wanted. I
gosh.
just wanted them to run off together. Like, I guess Magician Cat's a good second, but, like, Chris is right there. Why would you ever choose Magician Cat over Grizz? Who would do that?
Seems a foolish choice to me.
Seems a very foolish choice.
Why would you take the nice guy over Jennifer Hudson Cat?
I keep forgetting that's who plays her. Again, I don't know who played who.
Yeah.
I don't care who played who. I don't know the cats' names. I'm not gonna bother learning the cat names because they didn't bother to make them real fucking characters. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it. That's it. This was an experience. I got.
It definitely. I'm glad that you came with me on this experience, and I hope you're like you've retained some of your sanity from it. I'm sure that you lost a couple of points here on this one.
I just hopped on Archive of Our Own right after and read a bunch of like fan fiction to like make my head feel better. That's exactly what I did.
Like I said, after this, we're definitely going to have to look at the original Much Gayer Rum Tum Tugger and Mr. Mistopheles songs.
I'm here for it.
I think you'll have a much better time with those. And hopefully those will serve as a nice palate cleanser, which I think is something that we just need after getting all of this in our mouths. Anyway, on the subject of palate cleansing, I just wanted to like come out and say how glad I am that we will never feature-length movie staring at a bizarre adaptation of a children's book by a mid-20th century poet that stars a grown adult in a bad cat costume. I'm so glad that we'll never have to do that again, Taylor. Right, Taylor?
Okay, but to be fair, you're the one who said you've never seen Cat in the Hat. You're the one who said we should watch this movie, Taylor. Do you have any cat movies we could watch and consume and react to? What the hell was I supposed to say? There's nothing else. There's only Cat in the Hat. Welcome to hell. It even calls itself hell. You ready for this trip? It has more of a plot.
Enjoy this is the thing you don't understand. I'm the guy that suggested Cats.
It's literally got more plot than
like,
the Cats
seen
movie.
so many memes of Shrek, Austin Powers, Cat in the Hat. Like, I'm so excited for the sexual innuendo. I'm so excited for the good, bad improv. I'm so excited to see the late 90s, early 2000s version of a stylistic live-action children's movie looks like. Because, of course, it's a Seuss adaptation. If you don't do stylism, you're not doing a Seuss adaptation. So I'm thrilled. It's going to be a fun time. I'm excited.
Heads up, the sexual innuendo stuff isn't funny. It's just shoved in at really like moments. Although I'm not a big fan of a lot of sexual innuendos, so to each their own. However, I will say that movie was probably like a pin in creating my humor as a child, to the point where like I'm still kind of bitchy when joking around to this day because of the influence of that movie and others like it. So we shall see. We shall go on that fucking trip.
To wrap up this last episode, I know we've said it a couple of times, but just for clarity, do you, Taylor, recommend Tom Hooper's Cats 2019?
Nah, just go online, find some Grizz and Victoria fanfiction, read that instead. I'm sure it's a lot better. I personally hadn't found any that like piqued my interest, but I probably won't be looking.
I think the guy the studio that was headed by the guy that did like Land Before Time and like An American Tail almost did an animated movie based off of Cats.
That probably
that like
better.
was set in like bombed out apocalyptic London. Go look at the concept art for that. It's fabulous.
I bet that
go look at that.
So
listen
better.
to like the original Cast album. Don't listen to this album, please. The songs are all worse except for Syrian's number, which is Syrian. So of course you gotta like that.
I mean, yeah. Also,
Beautiful Ghost.
Don't go around
Yeah,
drugging
Beautiful Ghost
people.
is nice.
Don't go around drugging people.
Don't go around drugging people unless that's your thing, and then like do it around people that are into it. Come
Only
on
if
now.
they consent. What I meant was don't go around drugging people without consent. Oh my god, Noah. You did not need to
Like
add
she
this
said,
shit.
like she said, I've been Noah.
And I've been Tiger Eyes 45.
And you finally caught cats.
I hate this.
Thank you for watching the video. If you liked our discussions on Cats, the 2019 movie, please subscribe to support our channel. Likes are wonderful and greatly appreciated too. If you want to see these episodes get made before they go up on YouTube, you can find links to our Twitch channels in the description below. We record the episode on both channels at 9 p.m. EST on Tuesday nights. So, who's your guys' favorite cat? And is it from the Cats movie or the Cats musical?